Call to order for the May meeting of the RSU 25 School Board. Would you all please join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Jim, would you be kind enough to take the attendance, please?
Mr. Foster,
I am here.
Mr. Burgess here. Ms. Foster,
Present.
Mr. Frazier,
Here.
Mr. Wentworth here, Mr. Cobb,
Here.
Ms. Atherton Dow,
Here.
and Mr. Nealon is notified us he will be a little bit tardy, but he plans on attending.
To start right off, we're going to mess up the agenda and we'll do adjustments to the agenda first.
Okay, so first of all, we're going to adjust the adjustments to the agenda to follow directly after roll call. And then after that, I'd like to move the Mr. Tripp's report, which is recognition of our robotics team to at this point right now.
All right. And no further ado, Mr. Tripp.
We could, because Tom usually will steal this anyways from me, so.
The only way we get
That's why we're doing this first.
You're welcome.
So like I said last month, it was just a few weeks ago now, a few more meetings. Obviously, really great to see the whole community kind of rally behind the World Championship event that we had at Houston. And again, you know, I spoke a lot at the last one about just appreciative of the support that you all provided and the community provided. And I intentionally didn't talk a lot about the team because I want them to be here and to be able to just kind of talk and represent a little bit of what the experience was to them, but also that we could just kind of give a more formal appreciation of their efforts and their accomplishments. I mean, not just over the last period. So in the World Championships, obviously, was a great combination of fantastic season, but you know, this starts all the way back in, let's go, second week of January. Does that sound about right?
First week in January.
First week in January. And really before that, I mean, you know, the learning that happens for all these students, you know, when they come in as freshmen, when they leave as seniors, it takes a long time. It's more than just that 1 week that we see that everybody kind of rallied around and sees at Houston. And that's, I mean, we love to see the flashing strobe lights and the highlights of them walking up the music. That's awesome. But the work to get them to that spot really has been going on for years. And so, you know, I got to see a lot of these same students doing VEX robotics at the middle school when my time was there. Now to see them come all the way to an even bigger stage, it was really kind of, from a personal note, it was really neat to see. And again, like I said, to see so many different people from not just around this community, throughout the states, and just from different parts of the country, you know, sending messages to our Facebook page saying, how are they doing? What's the record? Where's the site? How can I see this? You know, we saw a lot of tired students come back to us that week after April vacation. I think they're finally catching up on their sleep. I've seen a lot of less dark circles, I think, under the eyes lately. But again, I want to formally just again show my appreciation to the students, to the mentors, and to our coaches for the work that they've done. So we have a small selection here. I think can't remember who was saying, but it's not being a celebrity. You get asked to do a lot of things. I think they're tired of talking to news crews and newspapers and whoever else. I just happened to traipse through the school like nonstop as of late. Next week, or the 18th, they're going to be going to the State House along with our jazz combos. We received a sentiment from in Augusta, so that's going to be fantastic. And then we also will be having a formal community event that we are going to try to get in. We're targeting the week of Memorial Day. We were kind of waiting to see where the robot actually might make it back, so we could actually have it there for that public event. So people could kind of see it, and we can make it a bigger. And Mr. Gross told me just a few minutes ago that it is in Bangor at FedEx as we speak.
It'll be here Thursday.
It'll be here Thursday. Fantastic. So again, I mean, that's just my piece of me. It's been a really fun journey again to watch. That one event was really great, but to me, it's so much more than that. So I want to give Coach Gross was Mr. Boynez son has Little League and he's missed a lot of Little League stuff, so he wanted to make sure that he was there for his son's events. And I think a lot of his thinking with the other members of the robotics team, they've spent a lot of time elsewhere, so they, you know, they're trying to catch up, which I don't blame them. But Mr. Gross, I don't know if you would like to say something real quickly on behalf of.
Just that, you know, I wanna, you know, along with the whole team, I mean, just the support from the school has been just fabulous. It's surprising how many teams we talk with, that say, oh, wow, your school actually supports you guys, and this is in the whole community. It's a great feeling that, you know, you're there in a group of 30,000 people, and then my phone's buzzing steadily of people, you know, what's the score? What's going on here? And just everybody's watching and enjoying the whole thing. And, you know, these guys want to speak, but just the emotions of the whole, you know, culmination of the Einstein field was just awesome. So thank you again for your support and with the community also.
And Rance, and I don't know if either of you would like to say something real quick.
We brought something for the school board members for you. And the crowd.
You made us robots? I like robots.
Nice.
Thank you.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I love that. They may not know the reference to the song. The mentors do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So again, formally, I just want to give them one last round of applause here from this and. And again, like I said last time, just. I don't think we truly know the impact of what, you know, their accomplishments really are gonna mean. And we won't know for a long time. I think, you know, when you see the number of young people that want to see the robots, whether it's at the middle school, the elementary school, I mean, I think that's where the real impact is happening. And these kids had a great experience and they're gonna remember it for a long time. But I think really what's gonna be exciting is that they're really just setting the stage for a long run of young people that want to be interested in STEM related activities. And you know, that really was the whole purpose of this. Yes, we want to say that we're third in the world in robotics, and that is great. We will continue to say that. We will continue to brag about it any chance that we get. But really the big win is that, you know, we are proving that we have programming that is as good as any other public school or private school in the country.
Or better.
Yeah.
We're third in the world.
What's that?
We're third in the
That's
world.
right. So, again, I just think it's a big investment. Like I said last time, we don't take that lightly. You know, we ask a lot financially in terms of from sponsorship to local budgeted money, but it is going to pay off dividends in the long run. So thank you again very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Certainly did the community proud of that son. Thank you very much. I hope you guys have an experience of like that.
And if you want to see something fun, you should stay for the rest of the meeting. You'll be.
I'm not there with you.
Yeah, it's really close.
Used to craft.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you guys. Thank you all very much.
Right.
Oh.
Me too. This is the time for public participation. If you have anything that you'd like to discuss with us, you are here, please come up to the crystal podium. If not, you can email us for public comment at publiccomment@r225.org, or you can phone in for public comment at 307-8099. And seeing no one is sprinting up to the front.
We have nobody on email yet, and I'm not hearing the phone ring.
Oh. No, it's third grade.
Should we good?
All right. Public hearing on school revolving renovation fund referendum.
So in your package, everybody knows we are required to do a public hearing. We posted this as a public hearing, so we're legal in that context. We talked about it at the last meeting, but for the purpose of our viewing audience, I know there. Hopefully somebody out there watching this. Revolving Innovation Fund is a program through the state of Maine where they provide zero interest loans to schools to do renovation projects up to $1 million per project. You have to hit one of these loans, you have to hit a priority category, which number one is health and safety. Priority two is repairs and improvements not related to health and safety. Priority three is repairs and improvements related to energy and water conservation. Priority four is upgrades to learning spaces, and priority five is other projects. We submitted 4 applications. We were approved for 3 out of the 4. That was totally unexpected. We thought we'd throw them in there just in case. We were really targeting the middle school exterior project. It's not that the work we also were approved of is not important and not needed, but we didn't anticipate we'd get more than 1. Getting 3 was fantastic. So we were awarded 3, 1 for the project for the Bucksville Middle School exterior project, which was the maximum amount of a $1 million loan. The Miles Lane School air quality, HVAC, refurbishment, rebuild, updating. That amount was for $977,026. The Bucksport High School air quality, HVAC, $964,025 for the loan improvements. Now, one of the nice parts about this program is the state will forgive a percentage of the loan relative to the amount of general purpose aid you receive in your district. We receive 58.24% of our general purpose aid comes from the state. And so therefore, they're going to forgive 58.24% of the loans. So all 3 loans total slightly more than $2.9 million. They're going to forgive $1,712,868.
Wow.
So ultimately, the district will be responsible for paying back $1,228,183, or in essence, that's about 41%, slightly more than 41%, all at 0 interest. Our payback responsibility will be $122,818.30 per year for 10 years, beginning July 1 of 2025. Okay. And that'll go in as debt service. The projects, as I said before, the middle school project is the revitalization and repair of the exterior. Our exterior that's non-masonry portion of the building has failed. We're having water penetration, we're having deterioration of the building, both on external and internal. We've had this all engineered, studies have been done. We have a bid, the board has accepted a bid for the project of $1,369,874. And that project will replace the exterior of the building, but it's also going to take it right back into the interior of the building and replace the sheathing, replace the exterior seal around, improve the venting, so there'll be 1-inch vent hat channels installed to allow drainage and also promote moisture movement, which is fantastic. This project will require an additional approximately $400,000. That is being asked for to come out of our capital reserve money. That money is available in our capital reserves, and we'll need voter approval both at the budget, district budget meeting and through the budget validation process. The indoor quality project at Miles Lane, that's going to be a complete replace the motors, belts, and sheaves on the heating and ventilating supply and return fans, replace the supply and return fan bearings, replace hot water valves and actuators, replace all the dampers, actuators, and replace all the damper linkage components, install the new microprocess field controllers on all the mechanical units, flush all the units and bring them all up to original operating specs and balance the whole school to meet the new ASHRAE, which is the national standard for air exchange in school buildings. The high school project is going to do the exact same thing as the Miles Lane project. Plus, we're going to restart the 2 HV units that are in the gymnasium because they're not operable. They haven't operated for at least 2, if not 3 years now. Those are going to be entirely rebuilt. Plus, we're going to add 2 more units for the cafeteria, which does not currently have any mechanical air exchange. That will be installed in there. And then the rest of the system will be totally upgraded like the Miles Lane. And we're going to put a whole new automated system in both the Miles Lane and the Miles Lane school. I mean, the high school and Miles Lane project. So the Miles Lane project is 967. Let's get this right. All my numbers are going everywhere. $977,022. 569,000 will be forgiven. We'll be required to pay back 408,000 over 10 years. The high school project comes in at $964,000. $561,448 will be forgiven. We'll be required to pay back $402,577. All these repairs are necessary in order for us to maintain the buildings and meet the standards of where we should be for our school building. So it's an investment into the future. Having this opportunity to have these things paid through this program is a definite blessing for the district. Significant amount of money will be saved. Happy to answer any questions for folks that you may have.
So one question that I do have that I can't believe I hadn't raised before now. I mean, the middle school went into service years ago, right?
More than that. It's over 22 years now.
Ooh.
I know because we just paid off the loan last year.
My 7th grade year was the first year of the middle school being opened.
Yeah.
2 years to build. Right, it took them 2 years to build, but it went into service. To my knowledge in the 02-03 school year. Is 20 years a normal expected lifespan for, high quality?
But wasn't it warranted for 16,
Supposedly warranted for 18.
18? It was warranted for just
That was where I was leading
under
with
what we.
this.
Yeah.
So it almost seems like they expected the failure.
The building, I was not here when it was built. Okay, I know when it was originally planned, it was going to be all masonry exterior. Because of cost overruns, they found one of the ways they could reduce some of the costs associated with the new build is changing a portion of the exterior siding. That's what they did. It was a less expensive product at the time. The product is, from manufacturer, says it has a life of 15 years.
Okay, so it did last for its expected lifespan. We got what we paid for. Just making sure.
And the new replacement is not the same 15-year product.
No, it is actually a metal siding, both vertical and horizontal metal siding. And the warranty that comes with this is
19 years.
the warranty that comes with this is 10-year leak free.
And anything more than 10.
9.5 years.
I think you should. You should talk to the
Yeah,
superintendent.
you might be there.
Director at that point in time. It's a great opportunity. If you don't take care of your buildings, and all I can say is I keep reminding people, yes, is this a lot of money? Are we investing a lot of money in repairs and upgrades in our buildings? Absolutely. That's not a debate.
But how much?
Replacement costs for these buildings will range, somewhere between $600 and $700 a square foot. So if you look at a building that's got X amount of square feet, multiplied by even 600, a low number. To replace this high school, this is 62,000 square feet. To replace this high school would be well over $36 million.
Do
we,
it.
we will not qualify.
But how much
For
would you
state-
forgive it? No, I'm just.
No, no, that's the
I
point.
know it's only up to $1 million.
No. That's, to replace a building, you don't go through this program.
No, I know.
You have to go through a program through the state of Maine,
Oh, there is
And
a
you-
program that
and you
helps.
rank, and you get ranked with everybody else. We would be so far down the rankings. I don't think the people in this building, in this room right now will be alive when we became
Yeah.
eligible.
Wow.
They're only building 3 to 5 schools per year.
They're doing that with HCTC.
Right, and our buildings are far too well maintained.
Yeah.
So we have to, what you have to maintain.
Yeah.
And if you forego and put off general maintenance, you are asking for far more cost and more trouble in the future.
And side note, my sister was up for the musical this weekend and she said that our buildings are beautiful and it reminded her of a campus.
Yes,
She lives in
Yeah.
Scarborough,
yes,
just so you know.
Definitely.
we like that. That's a nice campus too.
Yep.
Yes, it is. So,
But she was very impressed.
so where we are now is we will basically wait for the outcome of the June 13th vote. There are 2 referendum questions that people will answer. It's gonna be number 1, do you support the action taken at the district budget meeting, yes or no? And then do you support the RSU 25 entering loan agreements for these projects, yes or no? It's gonna be critical. We're the only things on the ballot. So,
You don't vote.
yeah, we have information that will be part of our district budget mailing, and we'll also put out some other information as well for that. It'll be.
And what day is the vote?
June 13th. And you vote in your municipalities. And their warrants are all published, so. Such an opportunity, most places do not get. So.
Resolution's so nice, I'm gonna vote for him twice.
All right,
That's amazing.
Do we need a motion or anything on any of that?
no, you just need to declare the public hearing closed and move on to the next items.
Then we shall do so. Declare it closed and move on to approval of the minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes dated 25/2023.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the minutes. All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. One absent. Yeah. Next, we have communications and correspondence.
I have one communication for you. Having this right after the April board meeting, it's not much built up. And in that communication, you're gonna get the letter from Maine Bond Bank officially saying congratulations. You've been awarded a loan up to the amount of $2,941,051 for 10 years to be financed through the school revolving renovation fund. Now, what will happen is that 58.24%, the state of Maine, DOE, will pay off directly as a grant in our name. And the balance will be left with us. And that's what that letter says. That's exciting.
Any other? No.
That's it.
All right.
Yeah,
Next, we have superintendent's report.
you have my report. Again, short and sweet. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Jim? Okay. School board chairs report. Well, this is the time for all of the end of year festivities to start taking place. Son just got his prom suit. It's gonna need to be shortened by about 6 inches. But it is fun to see all of those final end of year things. We've got the graduate picture on the front of the lawn out there and going to see the final track games. The middle school had their big performance, which was exciting. Lots of fun end of year activities. Can't wait to hear all of the horror stories before come back. But really shout out to our principals for making all of these nice things that really become great memories for everyone. So thank you very much. Next, we've got committee reports. Curriculum committee?
So we have not met since we last met here, but I will have 2 meetings to report out on when we meet again, so I'll make it up to you guys.
And finance committee?
We met before this meeting and currently we are at 15% of the budget remaining, right about where we want to be. Food service for the senior program is definitely showing signs of stabilizing after they've increased their prices in January. We're seeing more consistent deposits, which are gonna show us a more accurate picture of where they're at financially. Help us to make sure that we're not eating their costs. I'm totally intended. And the general education food service fund has recovered a fair amount from the repairs and improvements that were made in the kitchens. We're seeing actually, while it is still in the red, we're in the red less than was actually spent on those repairs and improvements. So we're in a good spot there as well. All in all, the budget seems to be in good shape.
Thank you very much, Ken. Any questions for Ken? Okay. Next, we've got policy.
Policy committee did not meet.
Right? So we've got facilities and grounds.
Facility and ground, we did not meet, but we'll be meeting next week on the 18th.
Okay. HCTC.
We also have not met since our last school board meeting, but we'll be meeting on the 18th.
I think this was the quickest and shortest committee report that we've ever had. Thank you. Next, we've got old business. Of none. New business. Personnel.
Personnel, you have one retirement in your package. Linda White, who's been a long time teacher for us in the district, wonderful teacher, has reached the point where she says she's gonna start to enjoy other things in her life. She submitted a resignation.
I would look for a motion.
Seeing as I worked with Linda years ago, I'd like to accept her resignation with regret.
Second. Keith has a second. All those in favor of the motion? That is unanimous. Thank you. Next, we have nominations. You've got a whole chart here.
Yes, well, this is the season, right? Is the season for nominations for, and these are all coaching co-curricular. And as I said in my report, the reason why we do these at this point in time is we have a lot of summer activities. And it's important that we know the coaches who are going to be doing the fall and winter activities will be here in the summertime. So you have a complete chart. I can read those for you or whatever you.
I think I would go for a motion for all those presented.
I move that we accept the nominations for the coaches, the volunteers, and supervisors as a block.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions on any nominations before we proceed? All right, then I will ask for a vote on motion. That is unanimous. Thank you. We've got board adoption of the proposed fiscal year 2024 budget. Signing of the warrants.
You
Should have a pen.
Yes. And we'll do, as we did before the signings, we will do at the end. But there is a formal motion that needs to be presented.
Do that right now?
Yeah.
Okay. I will read it then. I move that the vote entitled, vote to call and approve the warrants for the budget meeting and the budget validation referendum, and to authorize the notice of amounts adopted, be approved in form presented to this meeting, and that a copy of said vote be included with the minutes of this meeting.
Second.
Okay. Debbie, and Matt. All right. All those in favor of the motion? That is unanimous. Thank you. And we'll go do the signing party after.
Do the
all.
signing party. People don't need to watch you doing signings for.
Really?
I think it's really.
But they are welcome to
intriguing.
stay.
They're welcome to stay on, but it's not that same.
Watching ink dry is fine.
Yeah.
Next, we've got consideration and possible action to transfer money fiscal year 2022 unallocated reserve into the established reserve accounts up to the amount authorized by the voters at the May 25th, 2022 district budget meeting and supported by the June 14th, 2022 validation referendum. So this is something that has already been voted on. It's already happened. We're just transferring the amounts of money that were already approved.
Coming around to you folks, it's a spreadsheet. You've seen this before, I think. But I thought it was important for the conversation. In conversation with the auditor, he gave me the amount of money that we had for fund balance and what our total liabilities were. So I was able to put this into a spreadsheet. This is a form that we've been using for years now. The recommendation is to transfer the maximum allowable by voters into the capital reserve of $600,000. If you do that, that'll take your audited balance as of July 1, 2022 was $619,969.21. That transfer would bring your balance to $1,219,969.21. We had already had previously approved expenditures relative, and that's relative to the middle school athletic fields, $195,340.45. The current balance would then be, as of May 1, $1,024,628.76. We do know we have encumbrances of $75,000 remaining on the middle school field project and presumptive of the $400,000 for the middle school exterior project. So once all of that goes through and washes out, the estimated total balance after encumbrances would be $549,629. For the SPED reserve, your audited balance as of July 1, 2022 was $68,000. Voter approved transfer is recommended in the full amount of $50,000, leaving you a balance of $118,000. There are no encumbrances on that, so that would be your balance. Technology reserve, current balance as of 7/1/22 is $158,687.57. The voter approved transfer is up to $100,000, which is the recommended amount. That would give you a balance of $258,687.57. But you do have encumbrances, FY23 expenses for prior approvals of $45,149.11, leaving you a balance of $213,538.46. Your fuel reserve is balance of $30,000, voter approved transfer recommended at $10,000, a balance of $40,000, no encumbrances, so that would be your balance. Curriculum reserve, we have a current audited balance of $77,325, a voter approved transfer up to $10,000, and which would give you a balance of $87,325. We have no encumbrances on that amount, so that would be your balance. Just so folks have an understanding of, that seems like a lot of money having reserved. When you look at capital reserve, we have other challenges coming ahead. We have window projects, we have roofs that are going to need attention. So all of these things will need money. The SPED reserve, in all honesty, if we had one significant out of district placement, that could take that entire amount. So we need to be able to hedge our bets a little bit. Technology reserve, as we know, we're trying to plan ahead and we're trying to look over the horizon 2, 3, 5 years. We know we have a significant purchase coming up in FY25 of approximately $95,000, could be more than that, and in FY26 upwards of $140,000. So we're trying to position ourselves so that can be taken care of without having to add more money into the regular budget. And then in curriculum, you have no major purchases seen over the next 5 years, but you will have some smaller purchases of $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, which could be, if the board desired, pay out of that as opposed to adding into the budget. But that is something that we'll be working with the board and finance committee as we move forward. Okay. So the idea behind this is to give the board and the district some pre-planning, some management a way to control some of the spending as best we can, and have a little bit of reserve in place. When all is said and done, you will have a significant amount of, unallocated fund balance of $1,529,877.95. That is below the threshold of, excuse me, I misspoke. You will have $1,525,403 remaining, which is below the 9% threshold. As we've talked in earlier meetings, 9% is rather generous. Previously, we had to work with a balance of no more than 3%. That would be very difficult given the number of things that we're dealing with grants. But in prior conversations, we did say if we could be around that 6.5, 7%, we would be fine to move forward. So, but that's what you have for this motion, and that gives you information for the next item to talk about as well. Any questions? Did I confuse people entirely? Mr. Neal,
I thought we had discussed not adding to fuel reserve.
that's a great question. That's for next year. So that's not included in the warrant.
This has nothing to, okay.
Right, this is from,
This is actually what we're
Last year.
currently doing now, just last year.
Okay, okay.
that's what's confusing. We live in last year, this year, and next year.
That's why I said 22 really loud, there many times.
That's a great question. And
Well, I wasn't, because I knew in our new proposed budget. I
I'm
didn't
glad
think
you
it
asked
was
that,
in
because I was
there.
about, I was.
Because I just, okay, that's,
you're dead on.
It gets super confusing because it's exactly the same measure. It's just, it's in a totally different year. It's something that already happened. And you're currently doing the current one right now. So it's really very
Okay.
confusing.
that was just
But
my,
it's good that you.
I noticed the same thing, I think, wait a minute, and then I saw the 2022 and I went.
You get a gold star for paying attention.
so this was like budgeted a couple, like last year, and then now it's just finally coming to fruition.
Yes, because
Okay.
we don't want to have you transfer monies until we have good, comfortable feeling.
Okay,
from the
so
audit.
we authorized, last year it was authorized to do this.
Right.
And now we see that the funds are there because of the audit, and we're actually
Going
doing it.
And we have to fund it in the current fiscal year. So we got to do it before June is over. So this is the meeting to do it.
Okay, well, let's not miss this opportunity.
I hope that we take action to transfer money from the fiscal year 2022 unallocated reserves into the established reserve accounts up to the amount authorized by the voters as of May 25th, 2002 district budget meeting. Supported by the June 14th ballot.
I second that.
That was impressive.
Yeah, were you reading that from something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, just from the agenda.
Wow.
All
That
those
was
in
very
favor of this
impressive.
very impressive motion? That is unanimous. Thank you. Next, we have.
I'm sweating.
Me too.
We have consideration and possible action to determine return of fiscal year 2022 unallocated balance for member towns of RSU 25 based on the cost sharing percentages used for fiscal year 2022. And Jim has alluded to some of this already.
All right, so if you look on the bottom left quadrant of that spreadsheet I gave you, and I apologize for the size font, but that's the only way I can get it to fit on one sheet. You see you have a remaining unallocated fund balance of $1,525,403. If you refund to the towns, and I put in here a suggested amount just to get at the percentage we talked about before. To get you to a net unallocated balance target at 6.65%, you can return $400,000 to the town. Okay, and that would be based on the FY22 cost sharing formula, because these are FY22 funds. So that's important to know. You have given money back, you gave $300,000 back in of FY20 monies prior to. And again, these monies are available not because we're over budgeting, but because we receive such a large amount of federal money. And I've always been instructed to expend your federal money if you can. So this is what we do. And it's also a sign of good faith for the community. So we've had this conversation before. But it's entirely the choice and pleasure of this board. When you give the money back, it's returned with good faith. And the towns can do it with it as they will. I can tell you all 4 towns from the last time set money aside in an educational reserve, knowing full well that as the assessments come in, they want to be able to have that opportunity that they can move a portion of that to ease and control their increases for mill rates.
Jim, do you have available how much would be refunded to each town individually at that 400,000 level?
If you can sing and dance for a minute, and I will pull that up.
Take it away, Tom.
You don't want to hear me sing. a joke or something.
Now for a brief message from our sponsor, Mobile Team.
No, I'm sorry, this. Yeah, in general terms, I do, but
Last one. If you don't, that's fine.
I can get it, Tom. You just gotta be patient while I poke and prod my computer.
We could be there.
All those red things.
Packed with 15 vitamins and minerals, kids love the rich chocolate taste of Ovaltine.
I believe it was $2.43 from Bucks for.
That's when the quote. Last month we did this, yeah, well, last weeks ago.
Yeah. This is why I always struggle with this. Yeah, well, I have a general idea.
That's why it's
Scott.
not readily available.
I know the numbers you can deal with.
I believe it was $2.43 more.
My head is.
I know in general, we don't, Bucksport will get a little over 200,000, almost gonna get about 181.
It was commensurate to the local share percentages.
Yes.
From last year's budget.
Yes, and that is how it has to be passed out, because there was 1 to 2 funds that
I'm
were
getting there.
raised in that formula. so we
43
have to
levels
pass them
deep
back
in
to
this
that.
spreadsheet.
Yeah, I think it was 63, 64 to Verona.
Come on,
I
computer.
believe it was 74 to 76.
Let's not spell. Let's let you do.
I know. Just
Two great. Oh.
Well, that's okay.
So-
We don't have to hold everything up. I just thought it might be interesting,
You have
know,
the question,
Yeah.
right?
but we all understand that the way that it was raised, how it came in is the same way that it's going to go back out. That those prior years cost sharing percentages, not in the current year one. And, but is the $400,000 that we did talk about, is that the amount in total
That's in total.
that we would like to give back?
I say we bump it up to 5.
Okay. Do you want to make a motion for that?
Well, I mean, I can get
Or do you-
sense of the room. I mean, I don't
Yeah, can
necessarily.
we talk about what that would do?
Yeah, I
That
mean,
would mean for how much for operation?
I mean,
So
'cause-
that would
well,
take a 100,000 out of your end fund balance more.
I mean, that would still leave us over $1 million, and have we used, like, is that money rolled into the current budgets we're working on as?
No, that's just unallocated, so that means it's unallocated, but what it does do is you have to remember your payrolls are $600,000 per payroll. And there's some months we have 3 payrolls. All right, and you have to be careful, you don't want to be short on having the money. I understand where you're going, and I appreciate what you're suggesting. I will say I recommended $400,000 for a reason. It wasn't an entirely random number, because it was based on that target of 6.5%.
You have it listed under your reserve account, unallocated fund balance calculation.
Good, thank you.
That seems like a logical place to have it.
Oh, that's why I do like it.
And if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, 23.
Yeah.
I mean, so this basically works like our operating capital? Thanks.
That gives you your operations and,
Essentially.
Okay,
so the cost sharing at $400,000, thank you, Katie. Boxford would receive 58.96 or $235,840. Poland would receive 26.94% or $107,760. Prospect would receive 8% or flat $32,000. Verona Island would receive 6.10% or $24,400.
What's that supposed to mean?
The 235,840. Change that. What I'm doing now is if I'm putting in what it would be if you did it with $500,000.
And understanding that you did absolutely choose the 400 number for a reason. How close to the chest are we playing if we go for that extra 100?
Well,
I'm gonna let this one listen.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I could see the smoke. Coming up from behind his collar.
It is tough when everybody's staring at you and
Oh,
trying to type something in Excel.
Especially if you put the brackets.
so how close are you playing it to your chest? If the state doesn't pay you one of your general purpose aid checks, which has happened in the past. Okay, if a town is late with their assessment, you will not have enough money in the bank to cover two payrolls.
wow, it's a pretty,
Okay,
margin.
pretty close then.
Which you
That's
definitely have.
Pretty close then, because both of those things, I mean, even in
That's skin.
the short time that I've been on the board, I've seen at least one of those things happen, so.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why,
Hear you.
and I appreciate asking, would it make a difference if you would send $60,000 more back to Bucksport, 27,000 more back to Orland, Prospect would see 8,000 more, and Burn Island would see $5,500 more.
And again,
It'd be super embarrassing when we have to
Generally,
ask
stuff in these
for a
reserve
loan to
accounts
pay our
to help taper their budget, and those things are all out of our control. These things are received out of our control. But if we have the money, I definitely see that's not a huge deal.
I mean, you definitely want to have money in your operating budget.
And I know for the former teacher, I'd have been upset if all of a sudden I was supposed to get a paycheck, you get one.
Yeah.
It wasn't very much.
I think anyone, your
I do think
paycheck
fine.
is your livelihood,
Teachers
no
would
matter.
get paid, but we would have to run down Camden National Bank.
Yeah, you'd have to take out a tax anticipation note, and you would be charged interest on that, and so,
And it's gonna cost you more than that.
never mind. And my
And that
opinion,
interest isn't budgeted yet, so.
yeah, in
But
my-
I think it is a good question to look into. Because I mean, you don't know if you don't know.
Definitely worth.
I mean, my concern is, for my personal feeling, that the cost, the effect of this budget to the towns is too high. And it's not going down next year, it's not going down the year after that. So if we could, give them more of a buffer, because, we don't, give them as much, because we can't get the budget down, anymore reasonably, it seems to be the consensus. So, I was just looking to, because the impact is gonna keep happening like this year after year. So, I mean, and that's where my thought was coming from, is to kind of taper that off in the future. So they weren't just slammed with an 11% impact that we couldn't do anything about.
which is the intent of doing this.
Yeah, so, but no, I certainly don't want anybody's checks to bounce or anything. So if you feel comfortable, if you feel comfortable before, then I don't need to raise it. I didn't realize that affected our operating costs. I thought this was just extra money.
nice.
I didn't quite understand the whole.
No, and that's why it's important that you ask the question.
Those
so
are
we
the
all-
questions that have to be asked because
Yeah.
nobody knows unless you have to live it.
Yeah.
And so this is so complicated at times that Katie and I will have conversations and some people look at us like, you don't even know what language we're speaking. Yeah. And then we talk with the accountants and we look at each other and go, what did they say? Nobody understands. that.
No, I'm good for it.
Okay.
The rest of the board, I mean, that's.
I think I
Would you
like the
to make
idea
a
of the
motion?
400.
I'm not, I'll let.
I feel
Kieran-
comfortable
He's
with
he's far
Kieran-
more
Kieran,
adept at that.
Karen, okay, my son?
I move that we return $400,000 from fiscal year 2022 unallocated balances to the member towns of RSU 25 based on the cost sharing percentages used for fiscal year 2022.
I'll second it though.
All right.
Perfect.
I have
All those in
to-
favor? And that is unanimous. Thank you very much.
This is easy compared to disclosures about credit cards. I don't know what's. I don't know what's that big deal.
Next, we have administrator reports. Josh is our taking care of his. Todd, would you like to begin?
Actually, we're not the same guy, but it's my father.
All right, you do not have a copy of our report this month, but just some quick highlights. As you can see, I just got back from Hurricane Island about 2 hours ago. And I just wanted to thank everyone for letting the STAR students take that trip. They pretty much all said it was one of the most amazing experiences that they had had. They got to do things like help actual research scientists count how many tiny scallops they had caught over the winter in their spat nets as they looked to create a aquaculture farm, to trying to figure out how to float themselves on rain barrels and some 2x4s and some more or less tightly tied knots across the pond as part of the team building challenge. But they all, they thought it was a great experience, and I appreciate being given the opportunity to take them on that trip and have that experience. So thank you for that. If our May meeting was, at its normal time, I probably would give you information at that time about 8th grade promotion. That is something that's in the works and being planned. School board members are welcome and encouraged to attend. We do have a ticketing system to make sure that everyone's family gets at least a few seats in the nice comfy auditorium. We also do overflow seating in the gym for those who, if you want to bring 40 people, that's awesome. They may not all fit in the auditorium in order to fit everyone else in, but so I'll probably send an email in a week or so, maybe 2 weeks, just seeing how many board members would like to come and make sure you have a seat for that. And then, I know Mr. Boothby talked about it last week. I put a few pieces of information in the board meeting packet drive about a schedule change that we're working on for 7th and 8th grade next year at the middle school. What we're really trying to do is, first and foremost, we're trying to think about how can we more effectively meet student needs through our allocation of time. We're also looking at our staffing resources and thinking about ways to be more efficient and effective in using those resources. I think if I was to boil it down for a public audience about what's the most biggest, visible change in the schedule for 7th and 8th grade, they'll be going from 6 40-minute academic blocks every day to 4 60-minute blocks. So the same amount of academic time, it's being divvied up a little bit differently. Some of the goals are to, like I said, number one, help students make maximum use of the time in their academic settings versus, 80-minute classes are a long time for kids these days. Their attention span, once they turn away from technology, is very, very short. And so, focusing tightly for 60 minutes might be better than a loose focus for 80 minutes. And then also, streamlining the number of people that work with students. So our 7th grade team right now has, 10 different teachers on it. Just the way that our schedule works. So we're trying to trim that down to 5 or 6 so that there's, one group of students working with one group of teachers throughout the year, with the idea that students and teachers get to know each each other better. Parents and teachers get to know each other better. All that communication is simpler and more tight. So that's kind of the gist of what we're looking to do. You know, I'm happy to answer any questions. I will say, you know, it's kind of like your question is, you know, like once you ask one question about a schedule, like you start pulling on a thread that like has all these other different ramifications that can take, you know, really long, complicated time to answer, but I am happy to answer any of them, so.
And they can come to curriculum
And they can come to curriculum
Tomorrow.
tomorrow, it's not next week,
Yeah.
it's tomorrow night. It's
tomorrow night, 6 p.m.
Yeah, sometime in the future, yes, and you can learn more there as well, so.
Todd, I will just say that I think that your move towards making them, the classes shorter makes a lot of sense. I never really understood when we make them longer. Just thinking of myself at that age, it isn't a technology thing, it is a maturity thing. It is really hard to keep focused at that age for that long. So I think that you're making a good move.
No, I find it hard to keep focused for that long at this age.
What?
I think you got unanimous consent. Any other questions or comments for Tom?
No, I just was very excited about the musical
Yes,
and
it's
you know,
fantastic.
all 3 performances were great. Even the third one, they had all kinds of technical difficulties. And those kids just kept going like they were pros.
Yeah.
They were amazing. It was really neat to see.
Thank you very much.
Great shows.
Did they ever catch the crab?
No, he's still loose. I think he's at my house.
Let's see. Once again. No, she's not, okay. Some of the times people are hiding, I just didn't want to.
That's what I said to my
Christina,
husband.
you're hiding back there. Let's see
While we
you.
were around, I said, wow, Walter's a really good actor. I've never seen him run before. And then we were gonna see if we could get her on the soccer team so that he would run during soccer.
Yeah.
Because this is how he played soccer.
Jim and I saw the preview last week and we were warned because we were, I think it was full, right? We were standing in the back. And, "No, you might not want to stand there."
They went running by me, and they did a lap again.
It was great. Kudos to them in school. So for me, it's just gonna be short and sweet. I'm working on a ton of different projects right now. Hopefully I will have a lot more information than you'll want at your June board meeting. Hopefully I'll have an ELA curriculum to bring to you. I may have a Life of Career Ready curriculum. We're also working on the new educator evaluation model that the PEPG team has been working on that we brought to curriculum. So I will likely have a lot by June 20th, but right now we do have some open positions. And so Jim and I will be reaching out to board members because we would like to get on the process of interviewing folks ASAP because we want to grab people when we can. So we do have a couple at the middle school, we have a kindergarten position, and we have an assistant sped director. So be ready because we're probably going to ask you very soon.
Check your email.
I keep Wednesdays and Thursdays pretty open.
I keep most afternoons open.
Wonderful. Well, that's great because we do value your input and involvement in that process. So I appreciate that. And the other thing that I'm working on right now is the FY24 ESBA application for all of our title grants. So I will also be sharing that publicly in June as well, because it is a requirement that we do put that out to the public and have an opportunity for public comment before I write the entire application in July. That's all I have right now.
Thank you. Who wants to present special ed? All right.
I'm gonna try.
Andrew is exercising delegation right
Letting me speak kind of extemporaneously. So what's happening in special services department? We're working a lot right now with case managers and teachers, looking toward next year, being planful about next year as students transition from one grade to another, make big jumps, you know, from 4 to 5 and K to 1. Those are all really exciting. 8 to 9. We're meeting with students and families who are excited and nervous about that. We are also just working on everything that they're talking about, everything that all the other administrators talk about. So new curriculum, how does that impact special education? New schedule for middle school potentially, how does that
what are the implications for special education? Christina and I worked really hard and hustled because the new NWEA through year assessment required us to enter accommodations for all of our students with those accommodations identified in their IEPs. We had to really hustle to get those together, but we worked hard together and got it done right in the nick of time. Monday is the last sort of full meeting with our special education teacher staff. So I'm really looking forward to having the opportunity to reflect and spend some time talking with them about the new evaluation system. And one really great thing that I get to do this at the end of each year is to meet with our educational technicians and to talk about, like, we review their performance, but it's a chance to thank them very much for their service and support to our community, because they are a great group of educators and we are really glad to have them.
Any questions? Thank you very much.
Thanks.
I forgot a question for Christina. Do we have any scores for the new NUIA? Are those given in real time, or do we have to wait like 6 months for those?
It's a great question. So we're giving them right now.
Oh, we haven't been, okay.
No, we're giving them right now for 3rd and 4th grade, all of the middle school and our sophomores. They changed it this year, but we will not get, typically we get scores immediately, but we will not get the scores until they're saying sometime in July for the first round of scores, and then in the fall for the second round of scores. Our K2 will have instant results, but those are not state required. Yep.
Not very helpful, but okay.
I know.
Okay. I was just curious.
Yeah.
Any other questions before we go on, Kat? All right, Kat.
We've been busy HiSET testing, and I will tell you that everyone so far has been successful. We did ones today that take 2 or 3 days. When they get to their essays, they're manually scored, and they're used to getting that instant, oh, did I pass or not? And now they're going to be waiting. It's usually 3 to 10 days. And so the students go through that, and then they all chose to wait for math to last. So they have that one too. One of the things we did with our Med grant is we really wanted to bring back to the community as much as we could in our workforce training. And we will be in June partnering with Bucksport Bay Healthy Communities Coalition to do a senior health workshop. And our students will be going out and doing free blood pressure checks. That'll be at the Senior Citizen Center, and they'll be under the supervision of our instructor, of course. But it will also give the community a chance to give our students practice on a variety of different sizes, shapes, and they really appreciate that chance before they go out and have to do it in a paid environment. So we're pretty excited about that. And the other thing that we try to do is we've really been trying to get the employers, everything in adult ed is trying to get them to integrate and work with us and give the students chances for interviewing and everything. So this morning, we got a call from one of our local employers who has outlets all over the state. And they had done quite an extensive spreadsheet and were totally stuck in Excel. And nothing was working, and hours of work were going away. So Tina and I were like, okay, we've never seen this before. We're going to solve this. And it turned out that somebody proofreading had clicked the button, which I've never seen anyone use before. But Tina and I were able to solve that in about 12.5 minutes, get them back, get a regional manager calm down. And we have been trying to get them in to do a customer service proposed speech to our computer support specialists, because that's one area that they really kind of struggle in. And I believe after this morning, we can probably ask for just about it. That's my report, but that's just some of the ways we try to give back to the community. That's something that was such a weird button that they're not even, they'd already called their auditor, they'd already called anybody who was worked in Excel, and we just couldn't figure it out. So very happy that Tina and I were able to do it together.
What was the button called?
So there's a proofreading button in Excel, which we never realized before. But it literally shows all your formulas in print, But when it does that, it takes all of your calculations away and it makes everything inert. So, it was just somebody had hit it accidentally.
Good to know that.
And I've never seen anyone use that. So,
Is there an undo?
they literally just had to click it again.
Oh,
And we said, it's magic, just click that button and they went, are you kidding me? They had about 10 people on the different outlets all trying to solve this problem because they had presentations coming up. So we're pretty happy to solve that.
Don't imagine.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Hopefully next board meeting, we'll have all the math done and they'll have a bunch more graduates.
Do we want to go to calendar and announcements, or do we want to have signing and then?
And why don't we do calendar and announcements, then we can adjourn and the folks can sign.
Sign till the cows come.
But you'll be happy because you'll find out.
So, we have a curriculum committee.
Yeah, and the curriculum committee is tomorrow night,
Be there, be square.
6 o'clock.
The policy meeting, you know?
Are we
Policy's not
also,
meeting tomorrow.
are we also doing the June
We'll pick it up
1st
again in
meeting? Abby?
July.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we're,
I
so we
believe
both,
so.
okay.
Yeah.
on calendar. What's the next policy?
Policy's not meeting.
There's policy in the.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so then
David
upstairs, we didn't meet.
Well, we usually take the budget season off, unless it's something really pressing that we have to
Okay.
get done in order to allow.
That's just pressing, okay.
A lot of the times it's to fix something that the state has forced on us.
Okay, and, yeah,
We try not to make too many
that's good.
onerous local policies.
Exactly, and what we're trying to do is, as legislature passes new laws or makes changes to those that affect our policies, we go back in and look at those. We look back through and review policies from time to time just to make sure we're current. And it's what we're doing. Sometimes, like Mr. Tripp will bring things to us for changes multiple times over the year, but,
We had like a policy on the bus.
on the website. But we have all of our, there's a group of policies that are required. We have all those. And there's a group of policies that are recommended. We have most of those. And then we have our local policies like athletic eligibility, different things like that that we have crafted ourselves over the years. A lot of things as Mr. Foster alluded to comes to us pretty cut and dry. Legislature said what's gonna be and it's what you got. And then, but like all academic eligibility, that has been that's something that we crafted locally and it took us a lot of time and I think it's working.
Thank you.
And any other questions around policy before we move on to the next one? Finance committee and school board meeting, June 20th. Facilities committee, May 18th. 4:30 at central office. Aspire is at June 1st at 5:30 at the central office.
And you should have in your packet some information from Aspire.
Then we have our district budget meeting, May 24th,
Which is a Wednesday.
Wednesday, 7 o'clock at the BMS auditorium. And try to get there a little bit on the early side because public does come and it's just easier if you're already there.
But
Sitting
an
up.
hour early, like I did the last 2 years.
Not an
probably
hour
not
early,
necessary.
not an hour
I
early,
just got
just
confused.
a little bit early. It's just easier if you're already sitting at the stage when the public starts coming in instead of.
Because you also have to register with your towns, so you can vote.
I was there for the bus meeting 1 year.
And then our budget validation referendum is on June 13th, and that is just where everybody wonders. Oh, sorry.
Register with our towns to vote.
Yeah, when you come into Performing Arts Center, your town clerks will be there waiting for people from their towns to come in. And so you have to make sure that they're a registered voter from that town. You get checked off and then you'll be giving a voting.
These people from Ellsworth voted.
Yeah, people from Ellsworth can't vote. And you can even not allow them to speak, but that's a whole other conversation.
I kind of want them to. Either that or we have to answer. all questions.
It's very much like just like a town meeting.
Okay.
You'll have
what, usually little yellow slips or something that everybody
Spotlight
pulls those
indicator.
up. That's what's coming.
Oh, so Prospect doesn't have yellow slips, we just show up.
We have those to differentiate the folks that can vote, the folks that can't.
Because you can be in the auditorium and just not be a voter.
And it may not be yellow, so you change the colors every year so nobody knows.
Gotta stay on top of that. Keep on their toes.
And if we have all of our announcements and calendar in, then I would ask for motion for adjourn.
It sounds like he had an announcement.
Graduation June 9th.
Okay.
And so any school board member that would like to attend, if you, I can send out an email, so just let me know, and we'll make sure we have enough. And so with the staff, and we have, you thought, decide on what's off, you have the time to get them there for you. It is,
June 16th for adult ed, if anyone would like to attend. Usually do it in the evening and we'll have that date. Time for children.
And I have not checked my email for 2 days. Is there anything about the academic banquet that you
No.
sent something else?
No, it's going out Thursday,
Get my email.
Thursday, Friday. Thank you, yeah,
Every day.
it's not there yet.
Every day.
And I just talked.
Good.
All right, make a motion to adjourn.